Yeah.
Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. It has been nearly a week since the College Football Playoff Committee released their first set of rankings. And there are a lot of people that were very unhappy with it. A lot of people that disagreed with it. And we were one of those people. That is why we again are back with our Gridiron Expert Top 25, our official Top 25, solely based on our opinion, our thoughts, our metrics, our system alone. No bias from the AP poll, no bias from the College Football Playoff Committee, solely based on the way we think it should be. Again, guys, we apologize for not getting out our Week 10 recap. We were actually out of town all weekend long, got back very late last night. It just wasn't in the cards this week, but we are back with our regularly scheduled content for the rest of this week. And of course, we'll have our recap for a huge Week 11 on Sunday. So let's break down our top 25. Before then, though, again, welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe. Check out everything down in the description below. Go check out MyBookie. Go check out BetNow, PrizePicks, and our expert picks. We're fresh off another huge week against the spread. 70% last week, 60% this week. We're really starting to get hot against the spread right now for one of the best marks in the country, both on the college ranks and in the NFL ranks. So make sure to go sign up for those today if you have not already. It's a year-long subscription, so you sign up now. You've got it through next November. You're not going to miss out on any of our picks for the rest of this year and pretty much all of next year either. So jump on that now. One of the lowest prices in the country, one of the best offers in the country. We want to help you. Help us help you. Take advantage of all these offers. Take advantage of all of our promo codes to start winning, to start making money, and to make the rest of this college football season a little bit more fun and profitable for you. So let's take a look at our top 25, guys. And we'll go through it as quick as we can. Really quick, the top four for us has not changed from last week. Georgia, of course, will be the undisputed number one until they are defeated. And I don't know if anyone can do that. I really don't. The Bulldogs are just on a completely different level. They are lighting things up. To beat Missouri 43-6. You know, they've navigated really arguably the toughest part of their schedule, although the game against Tennessee this weekend could be a little tricky. The Volunteers playing a lot better than we thought. But no one seems capable of beating Georgia, and that might even include Alabama, a potential matchup in the SEC championship games. The Crimson Tide struggled against LSU, only defeating the Tigers 20-14. Oklahoma is in at number 2 for us. They're coming off a bye week. They're at 9-0. The playoff committee had them relatively low at 8. We understand that. We understand why they were low. A lot of close victories in there. Fact of the matter is Oklahoma still hasn't lost. Oklahoma is a Power 5 program that has not lost, and to me, has looked better with Caleb Williams under quarterback than they did with Spencer Rattler. So maybe some think Oklahoma at 2 too high. But again, I ask you, who should it be? I disagree with having a one-loss Alabama above Oklahoma, a one-loss Ohio State above them, a one-loss Oregon. Teams that have lost to Stanford, Ohio State losing to Oregon, Alabama losing to Texas A&M, who at the time was an unranked team. The Aggies are playing better, but at the time, it's what the playoff committee typically looks like. So look at all those things, guys. Oklahoma, yeah, they might not have looked impressive, but they've got a tough slate coming up. They've got Baylor, Iowa State, and Oklahoma State. They win those, they will solidify themselves as a top 4 team, just like we have them as now. I believe the Sooners are that, again, until they finally lose. Alabama at 3, as we mentioned. Ohio State at 4, taking down Nebraska 26-17. Again, 9-point victory for the Buckeyes. Not that impressive. A lot of people thought they'd win by more, including ourselves. Right now, it is very clear there's no clear number 2 team. There is not one team in the country where you say they are the second best team in the country. They are definitely Georgia's biggest threat. Georgia's number 1, and then it's everybody else. Oklahoma, Alabama, Ohio State, Oregon, Michigan, all of them have weaknesses. And that's just teams up here. Cincinnati hasn't looked good. Michigan State has lost to Purdue. We'll touch on all those in a second. But there is no clear number 2 team right now. Again, it's Georgia and then the rest of the field. So after that, after number 1, rank them as you want. Because right now, it's a crapshoot. It really is. But that's our top 4 as of now going into Week 11. Oregon at 5, sitting at 8-1. They defeated Washington on the road by 10. Oregon actually moving up 2 spots. Had them at 7th. We have them now at 5th. They jumped a team like Cincinnati. They jumped a team like Michigan. Or Michigan that was 8th, but still ahead of Michigan in our eyes. And we'll touch on Cincinnati now. They're 9-0, but Cincinnati continues to dig their grave for the college football playoff because they're not winning convincingly. You are playing teams that have horrible, horrible records. A 1-win Navy team, a 1-win Tulane team, a 3-5 Tulsa team with college game day in your backyard, and you can only beat Tulsa by 8. You can only beat Tulsa 28-20, and you need a game-winning fumble recovery with 36 seconds left to seal that victory. A game-winning fumble recovery on the goal line. Cincinnati is failing to win convincingly. They have had opportunities, and they had an opportunity this last weekend with College game day in town to flex their muscles, to make a statement after getting what many said were snubbed by the playoff committee. And while I disagree with the playoff committee's rankings of them initially, if Cincinnati continues to play the way they're playing, they will not get in because they don't look like a top 4 team. If you are barely beating Navy, Tulane, and Tulsa, you do not stand a chance against Georgia, Oklahoma, Alabama, Ohio State, Oregon, Michigan, guys like that. You don't. Bearcat fans, it might be a tough pill to swallow, but you better start playing better because otherwise, you're not getting to that top 4. And right now, you're not a top 4 team for us. Cincinnati all the way down to 7. Michigan above them, 8-1, defeating Indiana 29-7. Despite the loss of Michigan State, the Wolverines still have a chance at the playoff. They still have a chance at winning the Big Ten East with that big game against Ohio State, although the Wolverines first have to get past Penn State in Happy Valley on Saturday. And that could be a big slip-up for them. Notre Dame in at number 8, moving up 2 spots, dominated Navy, and with a couple losses in the top 10 ahead of them, the Fighting Irish have moved up into the top 8. So Notre Dame still having that outside chance of getting into the playoff if they were to win out, although really it just feels like a New Year's Six Bowl is more likely for them. Oklahoma State, 8-1. They went on the road and beat West Virginia 24-3. West Virginia, a very tough place to play, took down a ranked Iowa State team the week prior. Oklahoma State entered that game as a 3-point favorite, won by 21. This Cowboys team is real. They are Big 12 title contenders, and they can take down Oklahoma in Bedlam in the season finale. They can do that. So they are Big 12 title contenders. They are playoff contenders. Have them in at number 9. If they win out, you're really going to need to start taking them seriously. You need to take them seriously now, but especially if they keep winning. Michigan State, rounding out our top 10. Michigan State fell to Purdue 40-29. And look, some could say that they should drop further, but Iowa did not drop very far after their loss to Purdue. The game was on the road. Iowa lost to Purdue at home. The game was on the road for Michigan State, and we had a feeling this could be a trendy upset pick and a sneaky trap game for the Spartans. Emotional off the big win over Michigan. You go on the road to take on a Purdue team that knows how to throw the ball, and Michigan State, you have a horrible secondary. We knew that. They got torched by Michigan, and then against Purdue, they allowed 536 passing yards to Aiden O'Connell. Michigan State is still in the playoff hunt. They are still in the Big Ten title hunt because if they can beat Ohio State, everything changes. And that loss to Purdue is kind of put on the back burner. Just ask Ohio State. Let's ask Ohio State against teams they've lost to shockingly. Purdue and Iowa, guys like that. They can overcome that, even if it's late in the season. But Michigan State has a lot to work on, especially defensively, if they want to get back in the hunt. But to me, they are still a top 10 team. The resume says so. Outside of that, Texas A&M coming in at 11. The Aggies defeated Auburn 20-3. The Aggies are up 3 spots in our rankings from 14th to 11th, sitting at 7-2, guys. And if Auburn can beat Alabama in the Iron Bowl and Texas A&M can win out, which would include a win over Ole Miss, who we have at 12th right now, the Aggies would win the SEC West and would face Georgia in the SEC Championship. So despite having 2 losses to Arkansas and Mississippi State of all teams, A&M is still in the hunt for the SEC Championship. After defeating Auburn, the Aggies are now the biggest Auburn fans in the world from here on out. Ole Miss at 12, as we mentioned. They have a game against A&M on Saturday. Baylor at 13. I hated to see Baylor lose, guys. I love seeing the Bears kind of being a dark horse playoff contender, and those hopes are now gone. But the Big 12 title hopes are not. Baylor lost 30-28 at TCU in TCU's first game since 1997 without Gary Patterson on the sideline in some capacity. Lost them 30-28. But Baylor's still a very solid team and obviously a chance to improve on their ranking, to improve on their record, and still play spoiler for Oklahoma as the Bears get to host the Sooners this Saturday. So this season is far from over for Baylor. They can still win the Big 12 title. They can still get there. Only losses to TCU and Oklahoma State, and a win against Oklahoma changes everything, not just for them, but in terms of the entire playoff and Big 12 landscape. So Baylor, to me, still a top 15 team. Just kind of laid an egg, unfortunately, at TCU. Texas San Antonio, UTSA in at 14. Everybody will disagree with this. Everybody will hate this. But here's the thing. How is UTSA any different from any other group of 5 team we've seen ranked this high? especially with maybe a poor strength of schedule. No different than UCF in the past. No different than Coastal Carolina, Louisiana, Appalachian State, guys like that. Factor in that Texas San Antonio is winning games convincingly, and they have a road win over Illinois, an Illinois team who has defeated both Penn State and Minnesota, both ranked teams, on the road. And, the Roadrunners' resume isn't all that bad. Yes, the Conference USA is weak, but they're winning games in a big way. They're winning games convincingly, as good teams should. Maybe Cincinnati should take notes from another one of their group of 5 teams. But I believe in Jeff Traylor and the Roadrunners. I believe in them. They weren't ranked by the committee. They got snubbed. It was disrespectful. They might not be better than Wake Forest, Auburn, NC State in many people's eyes, but right now, based on the resume, based on the way they're winning, based on the teams that, the way we had them ranked, and the teams that lost ahead of them, we have them in at 14th. Will they slip up? Maybe. But they are kind of this year's Cinderella team, and they deserve some credit for that. Wake Forest in at 15, down 2 spots following their 3-point loss to North Carolina. They were underdogs going into that game to begin with, but the Demon Deacons should have won that game. You lead by 18 points. You've got to close it out. The Demon Deacons blew that 18-point third quarter lead, lost 58-55, a game with no defense, and with that, their slim playoff hopes ended. They're still 8-1. They can still win the ACC championship, but the game against NC State this Saturday will determine who wins the Atlantic. So it's huge. This Saturday is huge for the Demon Deacons and the Wolfpack. So you hate to see another Cinderella story, another slim playoff hope go out the window, but Wake Forest still has a New Year's Six Bowl in sight. They can still get there. Auburn down 4 to 16. The Tigers are 6-3, but an abysmal performance against Texas A&M at College Station. The Tigers' first loss at College Station since A&M joined the SEC. They were 4-0 there prior to Saturday. But 6-3, dropping 4, 20-3 at A&M. Not a good showing here, but again, the Tigers can still play spoiler and can still help out the Aggies if they can win the Iron Bowl, and maybe get a little interesting. Maybe get into a New Year's Six Bowl if they win out, although that South Carolina game might be a little more difficult than we thought after the Gamecocks annihilated Florida and maybe spelled them into the Dan Mullen era in Gainesville. NC State in at 17, up 1 spot, 14-point victory at Florida State. Big win for Dave Doeren and his squad, again, setting up a huge showdown against Wake Forest on Saturday for the Atlantic Division title. Houston in at 18. They drop a spot because I believe that NC State deserved to be above them. The Cougars are looking good and could upset Cincinnati in the AAC title game, but they didn't look too great against South Florida, only beating the Bulls 54-42. Defense certainly needs some work, but the offense up there is one of the best in the conference. BYU in at 19. Many rankings are going to have them as a top 15 team. They are not for us. BYU is not a top 15 team in our eyes, but they are top 20. Look, you don't deserve to jump 4 or 5 spots because you beat Idaho State by 59-14. Beat them by 45, sorry. Good win, congrats. You're 8-2. And BYU is a dang good football team. Do not get me wrong. BYU is a dang good football team. Only losses to Boise State, who just annihilated Fresno State, and to Baylor. Both of those not very impressive showings. Both of those double possession losses, multi-possession losses, but still. BYU a solid team and very well could finish with 10 wins. 8-2, but not top 15 for us. Wisconsin jumping into the top 20. But their 52-3 win over Rutgers and Graham Mertz having his best game of the year, throwing for 240 yards and 3 touchdowns. It feels like the Badgers are kind of slowly but surely putting things together. And they've strung together some impressive victories over these last few weeks. The big road win at Purdue, which looks a lot better now with Purdue obviously taking down Michigan State. The big win over Iowa, crushing the Hawkeyes just a few weeks ago. And now Rutgers. Obviously not Rutgers in the powerhouse, but the win on the road in the Big Ten by 49, that's impressive. And the Badgers are looking like the Big Ten West favorites and could give whoever it is, Michigan, Michigan State, Ohio State, a run for their money in that championship game solely because of their defense. Coastal Carolina in at 21. They're down 2. They fell a couple spots because obviously we felt that Wisconsin and guys like that deserve to be ahead of them. So Coastal down 2. Need to keep an eye out for Grayson McCall and the injury that he suffered, how that might affect the Chanticleers going forward. But they did defeat Georgia Southern by 20 and still have their sights on a Sun Belt Championship game if Appalachian State can screw up. Iowa still in our top 25. In at 22. 7-2 on the year, only defeated Northwestern 17-12. The Hawkeyes' offense is still non-existent. They're still not winning games convincingly. Obviously, they're not going to win the West. It doesn't seem like it. Wisconsin seems to have taken over that spot. But they're still a top 25 team. When your only losses are to Purdue, who's obviously looking better by the day, 6-3 for the Boilermakers, and Wisconsin, you don't deserve to be out of the top 25 in our eyes. So 22 for them. Above Penn State, though, who the Hawkeyes did beat earlier in the year. Penn State 6-3 defeated Maryland 31-14. Penn State a chance to improve in the rankings and to make some noise both on the national stage and in the Big Ten if they can take down Michigan in Happy Valley on Saturday morning. That game usually lately in recent history has gone to the home team, so watch out for the Nittany Lions looking to pull off an upset on Saturday. They are slightly favored to start right now. Purdue in at 24, 6-3. Why aren't the Boilermakers going to be ranked? You just beat the third-ranked team in the country, according to the playoff committee. Beat the third-ranked team in the country by 11. Put over 500 passing yards against that team. Purdue's looking like a solid team, guys. And if things can bounce their way, the Boilermakers can sneak into the Big Ten championship. They obviously don't own the tiebreaker over Wisconsin, but they would over Iowa if needed. They wouldn't own it over Minnesota if needed, but the Golden Gophers just somehow lost to Illinois despite being ranked in the top 20 by the committee. Funny how that works, isn't it? But, you look at Purdue, guys, 6-3. Jeff Brom is doing an amazing job with them. This is a team that has 2 top 5 victories this year, and there are not many teams, if any, in the country that can say that. So he's doing a great job, and the Boilermakers are going bowling at 6-3. And the same can be said for Arkansas, who is 6-3 and will be going bowling for the first time since 2016. The Razorbacks defeated Mississippi State, who was 17th in the country, defeated them 31-28, a thrilling game on Saturday. The Bulldogs' kicking woes just ended up being the difference maker for them. But a big, big win for Sam Pittman and the Razorbacks, who, yes, have now clinched bowl eligibility, but could very well get up to 8 wins in 2021. That's something that a couple years ago didn't seem possible for the Hogs. But with a ranked win over Mississippi State, with a double-digit win over Texas A&M, a win that looks better by the day, there are only 3 losses coming to Auburn, Ole Miss, and Georgia, all of which for us are in the top 12 or top 16. Not too bad for the Hogs, guys. Razorbacks are looking good, and they deserve to be ranked, not just here on our rankings, but when the committee releases their rankings on Tuesday night. So there you have it, guys, our new Gridiron Expert Top 25 heading into Week 11. Let's hear your thoughts. Who's too high? Who's too low? I know there's going to be a lot of disagreements, but that's the beauty of these rankings. And we believe the playoff committee has once again screwed it up and set a horrible precedent per usual. We believe these are how the rankings should be, but of course that's not how they're going to be on Tuesday. So you want to hear your thoughts on these, and of course we want to hear your thoughts when the rankings come out on Tuesday as we get into another big weekend of college football. The second weekend of November, only 3 weekends left in the regular season before we get to conference championships, but obviously a lot of work left to be done and a lot of questions left to be answered in these next few weeks. So once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below. We've got exclusive content for you everywhere. BetNow, use our promo code there. MyBookie, use our promo code GridExpert over there. Do not miss out on that offer. Go check out PrizePicks. Go sign up using the link in the description below. And of course, our expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com. 70% 2 weeks ago, 60% this last week against the spread. Killing it in the college game, killing it in the NFL. You do not want to miss out on that offer. It's one of the lowest prices in the country, one of the best deals in the country, some of the best picks in the country. So help us help you. Go sign up for those expert picks today over on thegridironexpert.com. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.